Seatbelts. It's time for the Anything Goes Hour with Stu Breyer.
It was very interesting, and it caught my attention. I wanted to talk with a gentleman who is a co-owner. It's an international recruiting and homestay program located in Watertown, Connecticut, established in 2011, a 100% American-owned company. And they're looking for people who will house some students from China. But we'll get all the details on that. And let's say hi to one of the owners of the company, David Guerrera. Hi, David.
Stu, thanks for having me. I very much appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. So you met your partner when you were in China, studying in China abroad. Tell us about that.
Yes, so we're both Connecticut residents. We both went to Fairfield University in Connecticut, and we had the opportunity to study abroad in China. And so we were there for 6 months, and about 4 years after we graduated college, we started our business, which is called AIEP.
How did it all come together? It's quite interesting, and I don't think people realize how many Chinese students want to come to this country.
Well, part of it's just starting in China. Travel, I think, is very important for any American. It just opens your eyes up to different customs, different beliefs. And one thing I wanted to do when I returned to the U.S. is share my story with my family and friends. And I thought, what better way to do this than to have Americans host Chinese students in local U.S. high schools. And so a lot of students from China are coming to the U.S. because they want a better education system. The wealth in China has expanded over the years. Parents want their children to learn English, and the ultimate goal is for them to go on to an American university so that when they return to China, they can either take over their parents' companies or run some high-level positions. And they're starting early and earlier in high school and middle school. And so that's how we started this up. We wanted to give back. We want Americans to experience hosting a student from another country, learning about the Chinese culture. And over the past 5 years, we're very proud right now to have around 200 Chinese students that are studying in Connecticut middle and high schools. And since then, we've been growing, and there's more and more students that want to study in the U.S.
You know, David, it's really interesting because most of us don't think, boy, the education in China, it's probably better than ours, but they feel it's quite an advantage to come here, huh?
It is, and China definitely has their strong points with math and science, but when it comes to building the student as a whole, extracurricular activities, playing basketball, soccer, football, singing, doing something with arts, that's missing in China. And so a lot of the students are in an education system where they're very confined, and it's a lot of testing, it's a lot of long hours. Students will come into school around 7 a.m., they won't be out till 8 p.m., and they're going in on weekends too. So it's a good education system, but if you want to branch outside of science or math, and you want more opportunities, and you also have a large population competing for top spots at universities in China, coming to the U.S. and studying is a great alternative.
So before we get into how somebody can become a host family, this is fascinating. How do you determine who you recruit, who's going to come from China? How does that all work to get them here, and what do you look for when you're choosing some?
So we have about 50 schools in Connecticut we're working with, and more particular in your area, we're working with St. Bernard School in Uncasville and the Williams School in New London, Connecticut. And so these are some top schools that already have a great education system, but they do want to expand and diversify. So the schools pretty much tell us what they're looking for. They have English proficiency requirements. They may have an entrance exam. All of our students undergo a Skype interview with the school and our agency. So just like domestic students applying for high school, St. Bernard School in Uncasville and Williams School in New London have their own criteria. So we're trying to go out there, scout these students, meet with parents in China, and match them up to the schools. We have a staff right now of 15 in Connecticut, and we have a staff of 10 in China. And all they do is find host families and find students that want to study at schools like St. Bernard School and Williams School.
I think it's great that so many want to learn English, which certainly is an advantage. The more languages you know, and certainly English is a big part about it. So before they come over, you need to set up a host family where they can live.
Yes, we're already full steam. We're advertising on your station and many other local stations, and what we're trying to do is find American families that would like to bring 1 or 2 students into their household. So they'll be coming here in mid-August, We usually do matching by July of host families with students. It's a 10-month commitment. The family should provide a private bedroom per student. Again, you can host up to 2 students at a time. Transportation to and from school, and meals during the week and weekends. And then to offset the cost of hosting, we offer $1,000 a month per student of a stipend that goes to you as the host family. We have families from all different walks of life. We have empty nesters where their son or daughter's in college and they have an extra bedroom. We have some older grandparents, quote unquote, that miss having a child in their home. We also have some single parents. So it's a variety of families we're looking for, but as long as you're willing to take someone into your household, be their mother and father abroad, and care for them for 10 months, that's really what we're looking for, and we're really ramping up because as we recruit host families, we're also recruiting students that are starting in mid-August.
So, Dave, so if somebody's a host family for 2 students, they would get $2,000 a month?
Exactly. It's $2,000 a month. Now, the stipend is to make the family financially whole. Mm-hmm. It is expensive living in Connecticut. There's extra expenses of driving the student and heat and food. And so we want it to be a good experience for the student and family, but we also understand that it is expensive. It takes us an undertaking. And so that's why we offer that stipend. But you're correct. You can host 1 or 2 students, and it would be $1,000 per month per student for the entire 10 months while they're here in the U.S.
I can imagine that some of the families get pretty attached and probably have a relationship that goes much further than when the student was there. Huh? Have you noticed this in the past?
Yes, our goal is to have the families host year after year. So a lot of our families keep on hosting. Some of our families have traveled to China and visited the parents, and they've been treated like gold, welcome arms. Some of our parents in China visit their host families. We have a lot of great stories, and they really do get attached because they are young, they are impressionable. They're coming here at an early age, as early as 13 or 14 years old, all the way up to 18 years old. And they're their mom and dad abroad during their most influential years as teenagers. So they do become very attached. And that's what we love about this program. It's very family-oriented, and everyone knows everyone. Whether you're hosting at St. Bernard's School or whether you're hosting at the Williams School or a school in Fairfield County, all the host families are very close-knit, and we have a great community for the host families that are hosting our students.
So the span of the age, how young can one of the students be?
Believe it or not, we have some 7th graders here. They're around 12 or 13 years old, and we also have students up to 18, 19 years old, depending on what year they're applying to. Last week we did interview a student that was a 4th grader, believe it or not. I don't know if he's going to actually come in here with his mother, but we're seeing over the years it's getting younger and younger. But I would say the majority of the students that are coming here are between 15 to 17 years old. That's the average age of girls and boys applying for China to study in the U.S., especially Connecticut.
So if somebody's interested in being a host family, they would contact you at AIEP, and then everything comes out clean, you talk to the people, they would be great host people. Then there's a waiting list. Is that how it works?
Yes, so we actually have a local coordinator in Moosup, Connecticut. Her name's Teresa, and she's local, and she's hosting through our program at St. Bernard's. So if you give us a call, our number is 203-992-2437. We'll have Teresa get in touch with you. She'll share her experience, answer any questions you have. There's an application process, and what we'll do is we'll have a house visit. So we'll meet you and your family. We'll have an interview. We'll do a tour of the house. We do background checks on anyone 18 or older. And then from there, between now and July, we'll be in touch with you if we have a student that's a good match. But we do have a vetting process to visit families and make sure they're a good fit. And then we share that info with our parents in China, and they ultimately make the decision of who they'd like to live with for their son or daughter.
So the students will come in for their semester, their school year, and then they'll go back to China, and then most of the time they go back to their same host families?
Yeah, all the students do come back. They all do finish high school in the U.S., and the majority would come back to their same host family. It is only a 10-month commitment, so if the family wants to try a different student now or it's not a good match, we do have backup families, but we do encourage families to host year after year. And, the local high schools like this a lot, too, because they are paying full tuition. So they're paying full tuition to come to our local private, independent, and Catholic schools, and that's a great help to the schools nearby and also the economy. I mean, most of the students that are coming here come from pretty well-off backgrounds, And annually, I'm not sure what the statistic is, but it's billions of dollars that these students are contributing to our economy by living here, shopping here, going to school. So it's not only a great experience for the host family, but it's great for local schools that want diversity and also could use some extra revenue as well by having full tuition paid by the students coming from China.
Tell me about this $500 if somebody can get you a host family referral.
Sure. So, a lot of the listeners might be thinking this is a good option for me. I'd like to learn more about it. Or you might have someone that you know that might be a better candidate. So if you call us up and you give us a name or names of someone who might be interested, if that family is accepted into our program and ends up being matched with a student, we'll award you a $500 referral fee as a thank you. So if it's you that's interested, give us a call, or if it's someone else you think might be, let us know anyways, and we have a great referral program. Again, it's $500 if the family is actually matched with a student and accepted into our program by this fall.
So your number is 203-992-437?
2437.
2437.
And if you just leave your contact info, we'll have Teresa, who's locally. She can give you a call right away and tell you everything about our program. We do have a website, too, if you'd like to check it out. It's AIEPUSA.com. So you can either visit us on the website or call us at 203-992-2437. Either way, have some info about our program, or we can put you in touch with Teresa, who's local, and she can share her own experience as a host mother for the past few years.
Now, there are other organizations or groups that do something of this nature, but yours is different, right?
It is. Typically these programs have been exchange programs where students would come for a couple weeks or they come for a couple months. It's rather new to have students here for an entire school year. So that's one of the big differences between us and others. Other programs usually don't have a monthly stipend offered because those students are studying at public schools. All of our schools are private schools, and because they're private, we're able to offer this stipend. That's the main difference between us and the other organizations that have been quote-unquote exchange programs over throughout the past few years.
Tell me about just a little more about you, David. What inspired you to do some studying abroad in China?
Well, I was a business major at Fairfield U. I had a great job at GE for several years after graduating. And, when I was in school, all you heard in the news was China, China, China. And I'm of Italian descent. I was going to go to Florence, Italy to study abroad. But I said, I have to try something different. And we were one of the first classes from Fairfield U that studied abroad in Beijing. And, I landed, I didn't even know how to say hello in Chinese. But I learned so much about myself. But I also learned about a culture that a lot of Americans don't really understand completely. We may hear good and bad things about China, taking jobs in the U.S. and their economy, but we don't know the people as much as we should. And if you really learn that they're just like you and I, they have good intentions, the parents care for their children, and they're very social when they do come to the U.S., I think it makes Americans more open to understand what China's all about and that they're good people just like you and I. And that's what I wanted to share. I wanted to give back, and I wanted to also help our local schools with some recruitment and diversity. I went to school in Waterbury, Connecticut, and it was a great school, but there wasn't much diversity, and this has really helped. I wish I was in school with international students just to make a friend abroad and learn something different.
What's the average host family like? Are they older citizens? Are they younger couples, people with already have children? Or what is generally, or is it all across the board?
It's all across the board, but I would say it's evenly split between 40 to 50-year-olds who are empty nesters and their son or daughter's in college and they have an extra room. And the other group would be 50 to 60-year-olds. So I would say that's the average age group. Of course, we have older and younger, but majority of the families we're looking after are empty nesters. They have the extra room. Their son or daughter has been in high school not too long ago. And we'd also welcome some families that have students in our schools like St. Bernard School and the Williams School. They know the school already. They've been there, and it'd be an easy transition for them to reconnect with that school. But it's across the board, but I would say majority of them are empty nesters that have that extra space.
Well, I wish you a lot of luck with it. You're certainly know your stuff here, and I just want to throw this number out again for folks, 203-992-2437. And for more information, they can go to AIEP, and the rest of that is USA.com. Is that correct?
Yes, it's AIEPUSA.com. And again, we work with schools across Connecticut, but right now it's St. Bernard's School in Uncasville and the Williams School in New London. These are two schools that we're looking for families in your area. And, give us a call and we can answer any questions you have. And Teresa, who is our local rep, can share her own experience. She's been hosting for the past 5 years, and she can answer anything or any question you have about the program.
Well, it's a pleasure to talk with you. Let us know how you're doing. It's very interesting.
Stu, thank you so much for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
All right, David. Have a great day. Thank you.
Take care. You as well.
All right. Host families. Interesting stuff. Have you ever been a host family person? I know that when the ball players come to town, sometimes they stay with some of the folks in the area for the season, for the baseball season, and that's worked out very well. We'll be right back.
The following is a message from the